This is the Zone 1 podcast for a premium travel experience. The Zone 1 podcast brings you incredible travel opportunities and excursions through networktravel.ca. The Zone 1 podcast features the legendary Jackie Ray Greening, Rick McSwain from Network Travel, and I'm your host, Terry Evans. The Zone 1 podcast for a premium travel experience. Today, we are on the banks of the Cumberland River, talking all about the New Vegas, Nashville, Tennessee. And Rick, you were just recently there. Actually, JR, you were just recently there too. I guess I should just sit back and let the two of you go on this.
You go first, Rick. I love Nashville.
Oh, so do I. So we were down there with, of course, Dan Davison from CFCW. We had a great time. We had 41 people in our group. Dan, Michelle Wright, and James Barker put on a private performance in our hotel just for our group. So we had an open bar and it was just all acoustic, no AV. It was just incredible. And we had a couple of people in the group that actually shed a tear because they never thought they would ever have that kind of experience. So it's pretty special.
I have to tell you, Nashville, the first time I went to Nashville, I just started at CFCW as 1989. And back in the day, a company called Filmhouse was doing CFCW's television commercials. So they send me down to Nashville twice a year. I got to go because I was the marketing director, got to go twice a year. But back then, they wouldn't let me stay downtown because it was too rough. So I always had to stay out at the Opryland Hotel. But I find it remarkable. Any city should go to Nashville to see how you can improve a downtown core because they did it. Do you know, back in the 90s, Branson was beating Nashville for live music. And then suddenly they went, Branson shouldn't be the live music center. Nashville's got to be the live music center. And they got their you-know-what together, and it has just exploded. But back when Terry Clark, when she first started playing Tootsies, her mom made a deal because she was only 18, and her mom said to Terry Clark, you can stay here, but you have to only play till 6 p.m. at Tootsies. So she played for her tips and had to go home by 6 p.m. because it was so rough in downtown Nashville.
The rejuvenation of a city in that manner is something else. I mean, we all hear about the legendary times of New York City and how bad it was in the 70s and into the 80s. And I guess there are dozens, if not hundreds of cities of varying sizes throughout the United States of America that have gone through that kind of rough period and then transformation. One of the things that I really appreciated when I was in Nashville was some of the architecture. I mean, you're in the South, some of the architecture that you see. And I also know that there's a real interest in saving that architecture, the historical buildings and whatnot, to keep them from being, just bulldozed down and having redevelopment in the spaces.
Well, and that's what we saw too. All these old brick buildings have all been repurposed for all kinds of different things. I mean, it was just really cool. I mean, normally I don't shop if I'm going anywhere, and I hate shopping, but my wife came on this trip and said, okay, we have to go down and check out, we have to buy some boots. Of course, she bought like 5 pairs of boots, but we went into this one boot store, which was so cool. You go into the boot store and you could hear someone singing and playing music. There was a young lady in the back singing and playing music. They had a bar set up on the sides, just a small bar. You could slide up on a stool, have a beer or a shot or something. And then there was all of the boots. I've never been in a store where you could have a drink, listen to music. There was chairs everywhere. And then there was this massive boot selection.
And that's why you bought 5 boots, because you had a little sauce.
They get you sauced up, listen to some music, and buy some boots. It's unbelievable. So they've got it figured out. I mean, no matter where you go, and since I was there last year, there was a couple of new places that opened up, and now it's starting to move off the strip, a block or two on both sides of the strip. So it's getting bigger and bigger, and I tell you, it is so busy. But as you pointed out too, though, Terry, there's a lot of police presence, So it's very safe. I don't think anyone in our group had any issues with being safety or.
Terry, you started the show by saying it's the new Vegas, and I think what Vegas lost with these big hotels where you have to walk so far to get to. Remember the old days when you walk down the strip and you just go to casino, and that was the way you experience Vegas, and it was affordable. Nashville right now, there's still spots I can go, and I know where to find a $3 beer.
A
So,
$3
oh yeah,
that's
you
terrific.
betcha, I know the
Uh,
spots.
I'm all about a $3 beer. Well, let's talk about the food and drink that's available in Nashville. Some of the restaurant experiences there are phenomenal, and it doesn't matter if you're going high end or if you're going barbecue. For instance, the first thing that pops into my mind is Martin's Barbecue. I know there's a few of them in Nashville, but the one that I went to was on Belmont, just down the street, half a block from the Sound Emporium recording studio. So that the Sound Emporium is on the corner of Belmont and Clayton. And that is a historical recording studio from back, opened up in 1969. And it's had everyone from Dottie West, Johnny Cash, Don McLean to Alison Krauss, Robert Plant, REM record in it. And when I was down there, I went to Nashville the year that my son graduated. So this would have been 2015. I stayed at my friend Mike Plume's place. Mike Plume, a well-known Canadian recording artist and songwriter. And he was living in Nashville with his wife, Jenny. Jenny was working at Vanderbilt, doing a sound music therapy for Vanderbilt University. Their daughter, Ruby, who was still in school at that time, was playing cello and doing BMX riding and stuff. I went down to visit Mike, and Mike kind of gave me the nickel tour of everything. And the greatest thing that you can possibly have is somebody taking you around Nashville who lives there, who knows Nashville, but they lived just down the street on Clayton from the Sound Emporium, and then right around the corner was Martin's Barbecue. So he told me the story about all of the things that happened at the Sound Emporium, this legendary recording studio, which is a historical site in Nashville. And then we went into Martin's Barbecue and sat there and had some barbecue with Mike and Jenny and Ruby, and then Mike's brother Chris also joined us. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, Don Henley walks in, who was recording at that time in 2015 at the Sound Emporium. So, and that's the other thing. You just never know who you're going to run into in Nashville. And because, I mean, the music stars, and I'm not just saying country music, but the music stars live there and you see them everywhere.
Oh, Post Malone, he's one where they'll say you could be sitting at a bar somewhere and he'll sidle up in the stool next to you. Now he has his own bar in Nashville, but so I don't know how much he'll stray. Did you go check out his new bar?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just opened. Yeah. So it was lined up, but we got in and checked it out. It's like, it's just hopping. And Morgan Wallen lined up around the corner, like just so many people. Of course, they were all the same age as my daughter, so we didn't go into Morgan Wallen's bar. But
We got to
but
go into Roberts. That's my favorite bar. So right on
Roberts,
Broadway has a more
yes,
traditional country, but this is where you talk about the culinary scene. This is where what is it? They call it the poor man special, Rick, or
yeah, the poor man
yeah.
special.
So
I'll tell them.
you
Yeah,
get a fried bologna sandwich, you get a bag of chips, you get a PBR, and you get a moon pie, those little packaged like our wagon wheels here in Canada, for $5.99. And then you drop dead with your arteries clogging up about an hour later.
I was going to say $5.99. I'll take two.
yeah, it's heart attack on a plate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but then the music they're right in the middle of everything too. Roberts and the music. Oh, the music is just phenomenal.
The musicianship at Roberts is
Mm.
out of this world good. And always, yeah.
Jackie Ray, do you know the story with like all of the bars like Tootsie's and everything on Broadway? They're all very long and narrow, very skinny, and they all have the band. A jam band will be playing at the front door, and then you got the bar, and you have to squeeze by, and there might be a loft area upstairs where you can sit and watch. But what's the legend of all of the bars emptying out into an alley or something like that? took you straight to the Ryman Auditorium. Am I partially correct here?
You're partially it came to fame obviously during Tootsie's because the Ryman back door was there, and so the owner of Tootsie's at the time, she would just make sure the door was open so the artist could come and have a quick drink in between their performances at the Opry. But it is an interesting I don't know how they all started to build this concept. You know why the artists are all at the front because you gotta look them in the eye if you're leaving through that door and not tipping. So you know why that's positioned where it is. But the long narrowness, I think, just leads more to maybe they had the model of the party. But you look at Roberts, it was a boot store for crying out loud. The boots are still on the wall. You can still buy them if you're drunk enough. But I don't know. It's a great question.
Well, part of the legend, I think, was the artists would be at the Ryman, or they'd be playing at the Opry or whatever, and then they'd come in the back, and Hank Williams would come and do a set at one of the bars during a break or whatever when somebody else was up playing at the Opry or at the Ryman Theater or something. And I'm not sure if I'm sort of making the story bigger than it is, or swaying a little bit from what actually happened, but it's legendary for the back alleys in behind all of those bars.
Well, and
Rick, do you know?
I think some of those, the new ones are much bigger, like Kid Rock and
Mm.
Post Malone, and all those newer bars are quite large. But the older ones, like Tootsie's, for example, and Roberts, I think it's just an old repurposed building, which they're long and narrow. I think that could be it too. I mean, they're brick, long, narrow brick buildings kind of thing. So I know they could probably blow the walls out and make them bigger, but it just seems like Tootsie's is just narrow and 3
And then
stories high
goes
or
up
something.
and up and
Yeah.
up and up. You got 5 stories you're going up. But, there's certain bars, which I won't name them all, but there's some you'll go in and go, "Oh, can't go to the washroom here. This is a bad one." A lot of things they do there wouldn't be legal in this country.
Mhm.
So we went to one place that was called the Mellow Mushroom. Have you ever been? Rooftop terrace right beside Bridgestone. We were right on the top terrace overlooking the strip, Broadway, and I swear to God, it was the best pizza. We all sat around and ordered pizza and wings and stuff, but it was by far, I think, the best pizza I've ever had in my entire life. And I've been Italy and all of these different places and had amazing pizza, but maybe it was because I was drinking beer and it was good. But
And yeah. And what was the name of it again?
it's called the Mellow Mushroom, and when you go off Broadway, it's right on Broadway, but it's just, again, it's this narrow little place. You go in and it's 3 stories high. They do have an elevator. But you go in and you go all the way to the top. There's a bar on the top. There's a bar on each level, but it doesn't look like much when you walk in. But people were telling us you got to check it out, and the pizza and the food there was just incredible. Right next to us, there was another rooftop, and there was a guy singing, and he wasn't even part of the same rooftop. There was just a little rail, but he was in another little bar next to us. But it's pretty cool.
That's a good thing to know for next time, Jackie Ray. It's the mellow mushroom, not the magic mushroom. You and your
Okay,
crazy
thank you.
paisley.
Thank you for
hippy dippy.
clarifying.
So we talked about some of the bigger attractions. Of course, there's the Grand Ole Opry, there's the Country Music Hall of Fame, there's the Ryman Auditorium. And when you were down there with Dan Davidson, Rick, it was a pretty special trip for a number of reasons, right?
Oh, it was just one of those special moments where I've personally never witnessed anyone that it was their first time to play at the Opry, and it wasn't the big stage, but it was in the Circle Room, and they had told us before we went that the people that perform in the big stage at the Opry will sometimes go into this VIP Circle Room, it's called, which is right in the Opry. But they only hold 75 people. So we had this VIP experience where we go into the Circle Room an hour before the main show starts, and they have this little stage set up at the end of the room, and they got a big Opry sign on the ceiling and all these old pictures of Johnny Cash, and it's just really cool. So Dan Davison was invited to play in the room, which I thought was super special because I've never witnessed anyone for their first time at the Opry, period. And Dan was just bursting, and he was.
Well, it's also the 100th anniversary of the Opry, so this is a big year. They're pulling out all the stops at Opryland.
But right now, making his Circle Room debut, we have this lovely gentleman here. He has won Alberta Country Music Awards, Canadian Country Music Awards. His music is featured on CMT, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. He started out playing some rock and roll, but found his true love was country music. Please welcome Dan Davidson.
Holy Grand Ole Opry, you guys. You having fun so far? So my name's Dan Davidson from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. A lot of Canadians in the room, a lot of new faces here too. Any other Canadians? Let's hear the Canadians. So some of you guys know me, some of you don't. I never thought I'd be carrying a guitar through these doors. I know we're not on the big stage, but it sure as hell feels like this is one step closer for me. So thank you for being here to share this moment with you guys. I'm gonna play a song that changed my life. This is an independent platinum song up in Canada, and I'm really proud of it. Hope you love it.
Just to have that opportunity to go in, like, for, he wasn't on the big stage, but just the opportunity to play. And we had a bunch of other people obviously in the room. We were 41, and there was 75 of us. It was full, but it was awesome to see Dan perform and then have all of these other people that didn't even know who we were. Most of them, I think, were American, but they were all cheering him on and clapping, and they just loved it. And even the staff were asking, like, who is this guy? Like, so it was pretty special.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm feeling really good now. That was a lot of fun. Cheers, man. That was an experience. Even to bring a guitar through these doors is an honor.
So, Jackie Ray, how many times have you been to the Grand Ole Opry now?
A dozen times maybe. I don't know over the years. I remember my first time. It was when I was going down by myself doing those television commercials for CFCW. So I would just get one ticket to the Opry. And having one ticket, I'd usually either get first or second or third row, and I would just sit there. And at that point, Roy Acuff, he was getting on in years, and he was really quite blind. And so sometimes, if he really liked an artist, he'd walk right up to them, and they'd be like there. He'd just be like 6 inches from the face, looking at how intimidating would that be for you as an artist? You have Roy Acuff a foot from you, but it means that he kind of liked you. But it was so, yeah, and he would only step back a few feet to watch people perform. Roy Acuff was so involved at the time in the Opry. It was pretty amazing, but they all are, because it's so different. I love the live radio show aspect of it. I love the reading of commercials during it. It's just, there's so much history that it makes me happy every time I go to the Opry.
Is it still reminiscent of talking about reading the commercials on stage and the radio show? Still very reminiscent of what was happening back in the 30s and 40s with what they were doing back then?
They've kept that history for sure. Yep. Get your goo-goo clusters.
It's funny you said that, Jackie Ray. Vince Gill was playing the other night when we were there, and of course, it was in celebration in the memory of Minnie Pearl and Roy Acuff. And it was funny. Vince Gill was telling the story because he really, really loved Roy Acuff, and Roy Acuff, I guess, was on the stage with him, and he said, and Roy couldn't see very far. He couldn't see distance, so he had always come like this close to you. And he said all you could smell was his breath. And that's how close he was. And he goes, it was in the 80s, so all he could smell was vodka off me, and all I got from him was lemonade. So
some of the other things that happen in Nashville are equal to, if not greater than, experiences. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, the Johnny Cash Museum. That, of course, there's the Bridgestone Arena right there. That's right on Broadway, is it not?
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to hear my story about the Bridgestone Arena?
Okay.
There's a little park, sort of a green area out to the side or to the south of it, on the riverside of it. Is there not?
There is.
Not anymore. There's a
Oh,
Oh,
huge
they took it out?
convention center there now. Yeah.
oh, is it? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
in 2015, what they had was they had a stage, and I was walking down Broadway with Mike Plume, and we could hear the music just happening around the corner. So the way the buildings are on Broadway, it's hard to make it out until you're right there. So we come around the corner, and we're standing there, and I turn around and look, and before I could say, "Hey, it's the Roadhammers," Clayton Bellamy yells out, "Terry Evans, what are you doing in Nashville?" It caught me off guard. I've been recognized in weird places, but I didn't think Nashville was gonna be one of those places.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's a park across the street, so it's sort of from the Hilton Hotel and then the Bridgestone. But they have a huge convention center there. It's again, you think about being replaced Vegas. Conventions always used to go there. Now they go to Nashville. I was there one time. There's a roofers convention. Who knew but there was 5,000 roofers in downtown Nashville.
Holy cow. You wanna make sure you got your shingles vaccine at the Roofers Convention.
But and this show brought to you by.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Some of the other things, East Nashville is quite the attraction. How much time have either one of you spent in East Nashville?
For restaurants, outstanding. That's where you kind of go for the culinary part of it. If you want a great meal, go to that part of town. And Germantown too is really good.
There's a little ice cream spot around the corner. You walk down Clayton, and I don't know where it was or how we got there. Or all I remember is we drove somewhere and then we walked and we stopped in at this ice cream place that had a lineup out the door and around the corner and that sort of thing. But it was probably no bigger than the room that I'm in right now. It was
Golly.
something else. And then is the Bluebird Cafe in East Nashville, Jackie Ray, or is that in a different part of it? Am I getting my
It's
my
in,
directions?
I've only ever Ubered there. So I don't know if I'm not driving, I don't know where the hell I am. I do know that everybody goes, "This is the Bluebird," because it's out of the downtown core and it's in a strip mall. So
Yep.
it doesn't look fancy schmancy at all, but then when you go in, it's all about the music. And it's actually really good that it's away from the downtown core, because if you go there, you better be listening or else they'll throw you out in your ear.
My first experience or note of familiarity with the Bluebird Cafe was the Townes Van Zandt, Steve Earle, and Guy Clark recording at the
Oh.
Bluebird Cafe, which is an absolutely unbelievable record.
You put me on to that, and you're right. The writing, how can you be that good? Like, that's stellar writing.
Well, you're talking about Townes Van Zandt.
True
You
enough.
know, I mean, everybody and their dog, from no matter how famous, the most famous country artists to the least famous country artists have recorded a Townes Van Zandt or a Guy Clark song.
Yeah.
Poncho and Lefty, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's
4
so
minutes,
many.
45 seconds of goodness.
Yeah, it sure is. There's all kinds of history at the Bluebird Cafe, including from Edmonton, our very own Haley Benedict, who played at the Bluebird Cafe.
Yeah, Haley's played there, and obviously CDJ, Carolyn Dawn Johnson, Terry Clark. Yeah, a lot of great Canucks get the stage there. It's pretty special.
With a trip to Nashville, Rick, through network travel, is it a tour sort of scenario that people have to wait for, or they can go to network travel and have something cooked up by someone in the office, as far as getting down there and making sure they're seeing all of the things that they need to see, but still having enough time to, see Nashville on their own without a group scenario?
Yeah, and we can build whatever. I mean, if people want to go and we can make recommendations and build. We had one couple with us that went and extended their stay and went over to Memphis. So we arranged for some transportation over to Memphis. They stayed at the Graceland hotel, and then went over and did the whole Elvis experience and the city tour and all of those things. So, yeah, I mean, you can do almost anything. We can put it all together. They can come with a tour. The difference is when we do a tour with a group like this, such as with Dan Davison, we do like special entertainment and some special things for the group. So it's a bit different, a little bit more fun. But yeah, we can do anything.
What about getting down there? Are you flying Edmonton to Toronto and then down to Nashville, or is there other ways, other routes that can get you there faster?
I just did Edmonton Minneapolis, down
Yeah.
to Nashville. Some people have done Denver, into Nashville. It just whatever, price and your timing of what you want, I think.
Yeah, there's direct flights there and back now too. It depends on what time of the week you're going to travel and that type of thing. But WestJet depends on seasonality. WestJet has direct flights there and back. Unfortunately, our flight was canceled on the way out, so we had to stop on WestJet in Toronto and then go down to Nashville. But we were still, we're still there. Theoretically, you get there around 5:20 in the afternoon, so you still have lots of time. And then the flight back was direct, so 4 hours and 10 minutes, and you're on the ground in Edmonton, which is great.
Does Flair still go?
Flair is, I think it's based on seasonality with them as well.
Okay.
So yeah, so it depends on the season when you can get a flight and stuff. But we can check that all out for sure.
Do you anticipate another tour to Nashville coming up, or is it going to be something that you create based on demand? Could it be multiple times per year, or is there a best time of year to go?
Well, I'm working with somebody named Jackie Ray on something maybe for next year.
Stay tuned.
It's coming.
Or that's why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they call it Music City. It's not. It's the music capital of the world now, and it's all genres. So don't just look that way. Look this way too, because I'm all about going and seeing Jack White's record store and seeing all of the other stuff. That there's so much more down there than just country music. And boy, I'll tell you, it is rich with history and culture and like we were talking earlier, food and drink, and all of the attractions and incredible stuff. And I'm kind of disappointed. Neither one of you said anything about my backdrop that I've got.
Oh, the stage.
Hey,
Dang it.
I did that.
We're not
special.
that bright. There you
Yeah, I
go.
did that special
he's
for the
not that.
Nashville podcast, and I'm even look at that, Jackie Ray.
Oh, Abigail Road Drum Studio, and look at the
Do you know who that is?
no clue.
No.
That's Melchert, Chad. That's his
Oh,
drum
is it?
studio.
Okay.
Who has played on God knows how many recordings by Canadian and Canadian and American rock and roll and country artists especially. So I'm all gussied up with all of the stuff about Nashville today.
Yeah, and look at the travel guy. He's wearing an Australia t-shirt.
No, look
Good
at
job.
this.
There's a horse.
Oh, you have a horse. Okay, that's valid.
See? And I should cover up Australia. I should have.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And I'll bet you within arm's reach, he's even got a cowboy hat too. See, I told you.
Bravo. Well played.
Very good. The Zone 1 podcast for a premium travel experience with networktravel.ca. Rick McSwain, Jackie Ray. I'm Terry Evans. Future podcasts, we'll be talking about the yacht in Croatia, perhaps the Japan cruise. We've also got Turks and Caicos. Further details at networktravel.ca. This has been the Zone 1 podcast for a premium travel experience. Rick McSwain from networktravel.ca, Jackie Ray Greening. I'm Terry Evans. The Zone 1 podcast is part of the Reluctantly Podcast Network.